Hello students, I am Gurleen Kaur. I'm assistant professor in Tirthankar Mahaputra University and I'm going to teach you the subject environmental studies. So before starting this, let's first discuss the types of topics we have already done, like pollution, pollutants and the types of various pollution. Now our today's topic is solid waste management. This is our first introduction slide, which consists introduction to solid waste management. What solid waste management is. So the solid waste management is a systematic process of collecting, transporting, processing and disposing or recycling of the solid waste generated by a community. So what is solid waste management? It is a systematic process of what procedure which includes the steps of collecting, transporting and processing and disposing or recycling of the solid waste generated by a community. Now the question arises, what is solid waste? So solid waste is basically we can say refers to any discarded or unwanted material which is of no use, we can say. So any material which is unwanted or is discarded by us is solid waste. It can be in the form of plastic, paper, glass, or even food waste, industrial waste, municipal waste, etc. So solid waste basically refers to the unwanted material or the discarded items which are of no use. And when we do the management of this solid waste, it is known as solid waste management. And how does this management took place? By following a systematic process of collecting the waste, it transporting it from one place to another, by processing it and by doing the recycling or disposing of the waste generated by a community. It is a critical aspect of maintaining a clean and healthy environment, as improper waste management can lead to significant environmental and public health issues. So it's important, it's very crucial, it's very critical to maintain a healthy environment, because one can resist in only in a healthy environment. So it's the responsibility of a person, of an individual, every citizen of the society to maintain a healthy environment. So that's it. There's a management of the things which is known as solid waste management, so that the public health or the animal health or the biotic components of the earth may not be compromised. So this presentation will provide us a comprehensive overview of the key components and challenges involved in effective solid waste management. I hope the introduction is clear. Let's take a quick revision. What is solid waste management? Solid waste management is the systematic process of collecting, transporting, processing, and disposing or recycling of the solid waste which is generated by a community. What is solid waste? Solid waste is all those discarded items or unwanted materials which are of no use, and we just use them, and if we threw it directly into the environment, it creates a composition of waste, which may be very hazardous for the environment. And this kind of waste includes like paper waste, plastic waste, glass, food waste, industrial waste, etc. Now this is the definition of solid waste management according to the directives of the European Council. So waste is any substance or object which the holder discards or intends or is required to discard, states the directives of the European Council. So the European Council gives the definition of waste. What is a waste? Waste is any substance or object which the holder discard or intends or is required to discard, which means which are of no use, that unwanted material which are persons, which are humans, discarded is the waste. This definition is given by directives of the European Council. If the waste is dangerous or poisonous, it is a sign of illness and demise for everything that supports life, including food, water, air, and soil, in addition to living things. So the waste which we are generating, with the solid waste is if we are throwing directly into the environment, it can be dangerous, it can be poisonous, and which may leads to the illness or demise of everything which helps in supporting our lives, such which includes such as food, water, air, and soil. So this is the meaning of waste. Waste is any substance or object which the holder feels it is discarded by them or which is unwanted for them, and they just threw it directly into the environment, and which creates the pollution which can be dangerous or poisonous, and which may leads to the illness and demise of everything which is supporting our life, like for example food, water, air, and soil. In this slide, there is a picture which is showing us the four kinds of dustbins, that is yellow, purple, green, and red. So what's that? It's a this picture is trying to showing us how the waste can be managed, how there is a proper management of the waste can be done. So if we put paper related waste material into the dustbin, there is a segregations of the waste material, we can say. So segregation can be done through this bins. For example, paper waste material can be put into the yellow dustbins. If we want to throw the if the discarded items are made up of glass, they can be put into the purple dustbin. If there is a organic waste, we can say like vegetable stuffs and fruits, all those things, they can be termed as a organic waste, so it can be put into the green dustbin. And the red dustbin comprises of all the plastic waste material. So the segregation is done on the basis of the colors of the dustbin. If the segregation is done, their disposing of the waste material may also become easier. So that's why there are four kinds of colors is being provided, so that there should be a proper management of the solid waste materials. Now these are the types of solid waste. Solid waste consists of broadly into three categories: residential waste, commercial waste, and industrial waste. There are also many other types, but broadly if we classify solid waste, it is categorized under three parts, that is residential waste, commercial waste, and industrial waste. So what is residential waste? As the name suggests, which is related to the resident, which means which the waste material which is generated by the households is residential waste. Like for example, food scraps, yard waste, paper, plastic, glass, and also the electronic items. So all those waste which is generated by the households, which are generated by the residents of a society, is known as residential waste, which includes the food scrap, yard waste, paper, plastic, glass, and electronic items. Next is commercial waste. Now what is commercial waste? As the name suggests, commercial, which means which is related to our business. So the waste produced by the businesses such as offices, restaurants, and the retail stores, which includes the packaging material, food waste, and office supplies, is known as commercial waste, which is related to the business. Like for example, if we are doing a business of a restaurant, so the things we are producing it, the food we are making, as the waste materials which is coming out by uh, uh, proper following a process. Like for example, if we are packaging that food material, the plastic we are using, the food waste, all comes under the restaurant waste. Likewise, the stationaries we are using, that comes under the office supply. So the commercial waste refers to the waste which is produced by the businesses. Next is industrial waste. Industrial waste, waste generated by manufacturing and industrial processes, which can include hazardous metals, materials, chemicals, byproducts, and specialized waste materials. So all those waste materials which are related to the manufacturing and producing is known as industrial waste. There are all many other types of solid waste, but if we broadly classify them, then there comes only three categories, that is residential waste, commercial waste, and industrial waste. Other than this, there can be a municipal solid waste, there can be a commercial wastage, constructions also, and hazardous waste, e-waste also. They will also comes under the solid waste. Agriculture waste, this will also come under solid waste. Now this is the management of solid waste. So there are various methods which are being provided for managing the solid waste. First, we will discuss some of the stages, uh, which uh, which consist of three types of stages under which those waste material is being processed. And next is our disposal method. So the stage one means collection from non-point source. Stage two is collection from point source, and stage three is transportation to disposal sites. Now let us come to our stage one. What is stage one? Collection from non-point source. So the collection from non-point source means when the waste produced at the government or by employed by them handle the majority of the collection. The waste produced at the residential level is physically collected by garbage collector employed by the local government agencies, who then dispose of it in a communal bins located at designated street corners. So the waste which is being collected by the employed by the workers who have been appointed by the government agencies from the residential area is the collection from non-point source. When the when the employee which is being appointed by the government agencies, like municipalities employees, so they collect waste from the residential areas and then collect those waste into some common point, that is collection from non-point source. Second is collection from point source. Collection from point source means when the garbage gathered from non-point sources placed in designated point source such as public trash cans in residential buildings next to the marketplace and in other suitable places. Communal trash cans are positioned. So the large volume of rubbish are collected by vehicles from these point sources and then transported to disposal and transfer location. So when there is a common point where the residents of the society just collect the waste, and when the transport facility is being provided by the government agencies, has been provided by the municipalities, they just come across and collect those waste material, that rubbish from that common point source, that is collection from a point source. Next is transportation to disposal sites. So when the moving of products of or waste from collection location to disposal site, it is referred as transfer. When there is a movement of the movement of the rubbish waste materials from one place to that site where their disposal, where the recycling of those items can be done, it is transportation to disposal sites. When the waste material is being collected from the point, from that common point by the transportations, then it is known as transportation to disposal sites. Next is disposal method. So these are the common disposal method, which includes open dumps, landfills, sanitary landfills, recycling, and incineration. So the open dump, what does open dump means? When the as the name suggests, open dumping refers to the disposable uh, by any uncontrolled site where waste is disposed of without regard to environment regulation. The garbage is not separated, is left outside, and it is not processed. So when there is a site which is being situated which is being situated from away from the city, and then just uh, transportation of waste material from the homes, from the residential areas is being done, and that transported waste is being collected there. So there is a open site which sometimes may took a form of mountain also, as we have seen in various areas outside the cities, that there's being a waste materials collected at outside which took a form of a mountain also. That much waste material is being collected. So there is a open dump, which means an open field is being provided by the government, and then there comes transports of the municipalities. They collect waste from the cities, and then they just collect there at a open place. So that is open dump. But this is not a wisest way of being disposing of the waste, as it may cause various kinds of pollution, as also as it is openly available on the ground, and the harmful gases coming out from these waste may cause pollution. So we can say it's not a wise practice to follow. Open dump is not a wise practice. It can be still hazardous and harmful for the environment. Next is landfill. Landfill, as the name suggests, landfill, which means when a pit is being done and the garbage and the waste material is being put into that pits, and after that it will be covered by a thin layer of the soil, that is landfill. So burying garbage involves disposing of it in landfill, and most nations still follow this standard procedure. So the landfills are frequently built in borrow pits, mining voids, we can say, and a layer of soil is dumped on top of the waste, and a machine, typically an earth forming apparatus. The property can be turned into a parking lot of park where the landfill is full and has a thick layer of mud covering it. Next is sanitary landfill. Sanitary landfill is, we can say, is like an advance of landfill where iron made tanks is being put under the land, and those tanks is being filled with the garbage, and later on that garbage may be reused by generating lots of gases from that and by recycling it. So sanitary landfill, we can say, is the advance of landfill where the tanks is being put under the soil, and which may when the garbage and the plastic materials and all those solid waste is being put into that, and then those materials can be took in the form of gaseous form which can be used, and this is known as sanitary landfill. Next is recycling. Recycling is the process of gathering waste resources such as, for example, empty drink containers and reusing them after a while. So recycling materials can be collected separately from ordinary waste using special bins and collection trucks. However, since mixed waste streams must be sorted directly, the waste owner must first segregate the material into many different containers before it is being collected. So it is a process of gathering resources, waste resources, and then reusing it. It is known as recycling. Incineration. Incineration refers to that it is a process of burning garbage in big furnaces, which means if we burn the garbage, that process is known as incineration. So the one form of disposal that involves burning waste is incineration. Burning and addition high, both small scale incineration and large scale incinerations are used in the industry. Waste that is solid, liquid, or gaseous is disposing of using it. Landfills typically demand a larger amount of space than incinerations plants. So these are the methods of disposing of the solid wastes. First one is open dump. Open dump refers to a land where the waste is being collected from the areas and being transported and shifted to that field, and later on when after, many times the waste is being collected and it takes a form of a mountain, and which may be even more disastrous as harmful gases continues increasing from those the kind of garbages. Landfill is when the small bore when the bore of pits is being done, and those pits is being filled by the garbage and then later on covered it with the soil. Sanitary landfill consists of all those tanks, iron tanks, which is being put under the land, and then lots of garbage and waste material is being put into them, and then it may be also covered with the topsoil, and many types of gases can be released, which can be reusable. Recycling is a process where the recycling of the products can be done. The waste materials which is of which is of not any use today, but it can be usable in a it can be a usable for another time. Like if we recycle the container which is of no use, but it can took another properties so that it can be recycled, it can be reused. Incineration means burning of the waste. Now, this slide shows us the causes of solid waste. So, how does the solid waste arises? So, the reasons are overpopulation, urbanization, affluence, technology. So, what is overpopulation? When the certain level of population is being exceeding, it means it is a overpopulation. And when there is a population which is increasing rapidly, the resources used by them is also increasing, and which ultimately results in the increasing of the waste material, which converts into the solid waste. So the overpopulation is the main reason of solid waste, as the solid waste includes liquid, gas, and solid waste, which is produced due to growing industry and population. Every city generates tons of solid waste every day from things like homes, hospital, and factories. It is very shocking to know that last year the figure is 237 million tons. The nation has produced the solid waste, and it is being predicted that in till 2030, this figure will convert it into 543 million tons. So we just look at the figures, how rapidly they are increasing. So it's a duty of an individual to control it, and how it can be controlled by knowing its causes, and by knowing the effects, and by understanding the controllable measures. Otherwise it may cause a disastrous impact on the earth, on the environment. So the overpopulation is the main reason of creating the solid waste. Next is urbanization. Now, what is urbanization? When the cities are expanding quickly, it results in a urbanizations. When the peoples which were living in the rural areas being shifted to the cities, then there is a urbanizations. When the cities are expanding and trees is being cut, and the other natural resources being wasted, it leads to the urbanization. So urbanization is also results in the solid waste, as the constructions among the cities has been increasing, which may results to the solid waste. Affluence refers to the we can say out of style. When we consider our today's products is being outdated because of the style. So the technology, there is an advancement which has been changing day by day, and for today's we think that the materials, the things, the substances which we are using today is of no use. It becomes discarded, it becomes unwanted, then it took a form of solid waste when we think it is out of style. Next is technology. As technology advances, natural goods are being replaced by the manufactured ones, so that typically is a non-biodegradable in nature. So it may results into the solid waste. As we already know that we are relying more and more on technology, we are depending on the technology, which may results the discarded of the naturally uh, manufactured good, naturally produced goods, we can say. So the artificial goods such as plastic, the usage of plastic, DDT is been increasing, and which may results into the solid waste. So these are the main causes of solid waste which needs to be treated, so that the environment may be safe. Like for example, the causes can be overpopulation, urbanization, affluence, and technology. Now, waste generation and composition. First one, what are the factors which are affecting the waste generation? Some of them we have already discussed, like for example, overpopulation or the population growth, we can say. Second is economic development, as the economy is developing, then the natural resources is being compromised, and the the urbanization is being done, which leads to the waste, and also changing in the consumer behavior and lifestyle, which we have studied under the factor affluence. So These are the main factors, these are the main causes of the solid waste, which are population growth, which means that as rapidly the population is increasing, so net usage of natural resources is being also increasing, dependency on the resources is increasing, which leads to the wastage and which ultimately results into the solid waste creating. Economic development, as we are depending more on the technology for the sake of increasing the GDP, so the which may also results in creating the waste material which took a form of solid waste. Urbanization, as the construction is being done, the rural people is being shifted to the cities, which may lead to the urbanizations and which may also results in increasing the solid waste. By changing the consumer behavior and lifestyle, we thought that today's the products which we are using today is out of style, and then we opt the next other products, that so the products which we are using existingly is being outdated, is become a waste for us. Next is typical waste composition. Typical waste composition: food waste, paper and cardboard, car cardboard, plastic, glass, metal, textile, with a specific composition varying by location and source. So the food waste, paper and cardboard, plastic, these are the types of solid waste which have different properties and different compositions. Next is hazardous waste. Hazardous waste includes batteries, e-waste, we can say, medical waste and other potentially harmful material that requires specialized handling and disposal. Hazardous waste are very dangerous as as the compositions they consist of is harmful. The gases released from these kind of waste is very harmful. Like for example, if we talk about the e-waste, so the e-waste, when there is a waste which is related to electronics, so it causes our radiation pollution. Radiations coming out from these types of waste materials are that much harmful that it may cause death to the small creatures and may cause various kinds of severe illness to the human being. Medical waste is also hazardous, it can be also harmful, very dangerous. Next, trends and projections. Global waste generation is expected to increase significantly in the coming decades, driven by population growth and economic growth, and particularly in developing countries. So we can say that we have seen that the countries, the nations which are developing, the global waste generation is also being increasing rapidly. So it's a duty, it's a obligations of the every individuals to try to control it by knowing the causes of, by knowing the effects of these waste. Waste collection and transportation, how these waste is being collected and being transported. So the waste collection can be done by curbside collection, drop off centers and community collection programs are common methods of gathering solid waste from various sources. Curbside collection means when we collect the waste from each and individual house, drop off center, and those collected waste is being drop off into some common containers. Community collection programs, when collectively those garbages, those waste material is being collected. So these are the common methods of gathering waste from various another sources. Transfer station, intermediate facilities where waste is consolidated and loaded onto larger vehicles for more efficient long distance transportation. So the collected waste is being transferred to the stations where the waste material is being collected and loaded onto a large vehicles. As we know that large vehicles, it is very convenient to carry the waste materials if the vehicle is large, which is being provided by the government agencies like municipalities. Transportation. Now what kind of transportation we require? Truck, train, barges are used to transport waste from collection sites to disposal or processing facilities, often over long distance. So the when distance is long, we require large transport such as truck, trains and barges. This also we have already discussed the waste disposal methods. Let's take a quick revision one more time. What is landfill, what is incineration, composting, and emerging the technologies. So the methods of solid waste management are landfills, which is controlled engineered site where waste is compacted and covered with soil to contain environmental impacts. Landfills are the most common waste disposal method worldwide. So the most common disposal method worldwide we can say is a landfill, as it is the easiest way to dispose of the waste. When the solid waste is being put under the soil by doing some of the kinds of pits, and those pits is being covered with the thin layer of the soil. So this is a landfill which is controlled. So, that sites should be engineered, which means the proper locations and the proper design of site should be taken, where the waste material is being collected and covered with soil, so that the environment so that the severe environmental impacts cannot be caused. Next is incineration. Incineration, the controlled burning of waste to reduce volume and in some cases recover energy. So when the waste material is being burnt, that is incineration. And for what purpose it is being done? So that the waste material, the volume, the quantity of the waste material may also decrease, and also there are kinds of energies which is being releasing by burning the waste material, which can be used by various industries, that can be done. So incineration can be an effective option, but it required strict air pollution control. As you already know that if we burn the material, it may also leads to the air pollution. So the air pollution control techniques should also be done uh, along with the incineration. Otherwise, the negative consequences can be seen. Next is composting. So the biological decomposition of organic waste such as food scraps and yard trimmings into a nutrient-rich soil amendment. Composting diverts waste from landfills and produces a valuable end product. So composting is when the decompositions of the organic waste can be done, and it can be used by the agricultural process, by the agriculture farmers, so that the quality of the crops can be increased. So the biological by when the decomposition of the organic waste is done biologically, it is known as composting. Emerging technologies, newer disposal methods such as pyrolysis, gasifications, anaerobic digestions aim to cover energy or valuable materials from waste with reducing environmental impact. So these are the technological methods used for disposing the waste, which consist of pyrolysis, gasification, and anaerobic digestions. Now, this is the recycling and resource recovery. How the solid waste management can be done through recycling. So the material recycling, energy recovery, organic recycling, and circular economy. What is material recycling? Extracting and reprocessing recyclable materials such as paper, plastic, glass, and metal to create a new products and reduce the need for raw materials. That is recycling. Recycling means when there is a process of recycling the paper, recycling the plastic, glass material, so that a new product can be formed out of that waste. Or we can say if we are reducing the use of the waste material, if we are reducing the need for the raw material, that is the recycling process. When the extracting and reprocessing, once the processing is being done and the final product is made, and we have used that final products, now that final products is of no use, and if we are trying to throw it out, then just think twice before doing that. If we have another choice also, that we can recycle it. How? By reprocessing our paper, plastic, and glass, so that our new products can be created, and which may also reduce the need for the raw material. Next is energy recovery. So utilizing waste, especially non-recyclable and organic material, as a fuel source to generate heat and electricity through methods like incineration and anaerobic digestion. So energy recovery can also be done by following the process of incinerations and anaerobic digestion. How? One like as we have already known that under incineration, the solid waste material is being burnt, and the energy releasing from that burning material can be used by many industries. So The energy recovery can also be done through solid waste by following the methods like incinerations and anaerobic digestions. Organic recycling, composting, and other biological processes that convert organic waste into a soil amendment, reducing the need for landfill disposal and providing a valuable resource for agriculture and gardening. So, what does organic recycling means? When there is a biological decompositions of the waste material, like for example, the food scraps coming out from the households can be used as a organic recycling, and it is very valuable and beneficial for the agricultures and when the person is involved in the work of gardening, we can say. So it can be used as a resource for agriculture and gardening. Organic recycling, organic recycling is a process when there is a biological decomposition is being done by the person, so that there can be a valuable it can be took a form of a valuable resource for agriculture and gardening. Circular economy, a holistic approach that aims to minimize waste and maximize the reuse and recycling of materials, moving away from a traditional linear take, make, dispose model. So, circular economy is a holistic approach that aims to minimize waste and maximize the reuse and recycling of the materials, moving away from the traditional linear, that is take, make, dispose model. What is take, make, dispose model? For example, if we are using our current product and after later on if we thought that this product is of no use, no, it can be used. How it can be reused? It can be reused through the process of recycling. So just the existing product, we can make it into a different another products through recycling, and later on we can dispose it off. So if we want to increase the if we want to decrease the use of the solid waste, so it is important to be very much aware about the facts that how it can be dangerous. So one should minimize waste and maximize the reuse and recycling of the materials which is being provided to us. Okay, now this is the waste management policies and regulations which are being made at the global level, at the national level, at the local level. So these are some initiatives which have been took by the government globally, at national level and also at the local level, and there are many enforcements, many rules, regulations which is being formulated so that the solid waste can be controlled. So the global level initiatives taken by the government are like international agreement and framework such as sustainable development goals that promote sustainable waste management practices worldwide. So the concept of sustainable development goals is being spreading into the different nations so that there should be our sustainable development of the resources can be take place, which means the effective and efficient use of the resources. Wastes should be minimized and their uses should be maximized. The optimum utilization of the resources could be take place. So globally we can say sustainable development goals is being formulated, and if a nation is ready to follow these goals, then the solid waste maybe the solid waste generation may be diminished, and the environment may cause less pollutions, and also we can say biotic components may suffer less. At national level, we can say national legislations, country specific laws and regulations that establishes standard guidelines and responsibilities for waste materials at the national level. So at national level also there the responsibilities of the individuals is being formulated by the government, like many laws and regulations is also being formed which establishes the standards, guidelines and responsibilities. Local regulations, local level we can say municipal and regional policies that addresses the unique waste management needs and challenges of specific communities and regions. So at local level, peoples who are residing, they are directly dealing with the municipalities, so the municipal and another persons is being involved for removing the waste from the society by collecting those waste materials from the households, and then by following a proper method to disposing it off. Enforcement and compliance. Mechanism for ensuring that waste management practices adhere to established laws, regulations, and best practices, which includes monitoring, reporting, and penalties for non-compliance. So the enforcement can be only be strictly followed when can be a penalties of disobeying obeying the rules, regulations, and found by the government. So there is a mechanism which is ensuring that the waste management policies adhere to established laws, regulation, and best practices, which includes monitoring, reporting, and also the penalties those who are not following those rules strictly. So these are the waste management policies and regulations which are done globally at national level, at local level. If we are strictly follow, if we try to understand the role of these policies and regulations and how they are contributing in saving our environment, then one maybe is more responsible while creating our solid waste. Here are some of the challenges which is being faced in disposing of, in managing the solid waste. First one is increasing waste generation. Second is limited landfill capacity. Third, waste composition changes. Fifth, fourth, financing and investment. So the increasing waste generation, as we are seeing that overpopulation is being done, population growth is increasing, urbanization is increasing, economic development is going on, which steadily rise in the volume and complexity of the solid waste, posing significant challenges for management system. So when the population is being increasing, urbanization is being done, construction is being done, and there is an economic development, so which ultimately results in using of the of resources, and which ultimately leads to the wastage of those resources, which creates the solid waste. So the when as soon as in this rapid as we have seen that the population is being increasing, urbanization is being done, and economic developments is being going on, so it may result in the waste increasing of the waste generation. Next, limited landfill capacity. Many regions are facing a shortage of available land for new landfill sites, leading to the need for alternative disposal and treatment methods. Which means, as we already know, that landfill is a process where the pits is being done and the collected waste is being put into those pit, and then those pit is being covered by the sand. But for that process we require a large area, we require a land. But as we are seeing that urbanization is being done, so the lands we're using for all these purposes is being decreasing. So regions are facing a problem of shortage of land, so where the landfills can be done. So if there is a shortage of land, then there must be an alternative solution for this. Waste decomposition and changes. The growing prevalence of non-biodegradable and hazardous materials such as plastic and electronic waste require more advanced processing and disposal techniques. So, as we already know, the biodegradable waste is that waste which can be decomposed easily, but the non-biodegradable waste took several years to get decomposed, and its chemical composition causes disastrous impact to the environment. So for that sake, for disposing of those non-biodegradable and hazardous materials, which includes e-waste, medical waste, industrial waste, so these kinds of waste includes a more advanced version, more advanced techniques to get disposed of. The normal techniques are being failed on these type of wastes, as this requires more and more efforts to get disposed of. So there should be advancement of methods should be done, so that the treatment of these kind of waste can be done properly. Financing and investment, any kinds of method requires some investment and financing. So the lack of financing and investment can also be seen, and which may leads to the failure of solid waste management. So these are the challenges which are being faced during the process of solid waste management. As we already know that as the population is increasing, urbanization is being done, the waste generation is also increasing in that race. So limited, when the limited landfill capacity, the landfill which is provided by provided to the persons, to the government, to the municipality areas, is being diminishing due to the urbanizations, which is also a challenge. Waste composition changes as the compositions every waste has different kind of properties. Some are biodegradable while others can be non-biodegradable. Some are more hazardous while others can be less hazardous. So the hazardous waste and non-biodegradable waste should be treated separately with the most advanced version, so that their consequences can be diminished. And financial investment for any disposing of methods, we require some investment, we require some finance, which is also in lack. So this is also be a challenge for the solid waste management. That's all for today's class. Thank you and have a great day.